As the extended Labor Day weekend wraps up this afternoon, why some area residents are pleased to be working. Why it's an important week for both the Chickasaw County and Starkville school systems in terms of money and future changes. And it's hot today, but the skies are mostly clear. It looks beautiful out there. But will we see more of the same this week?
WCBI News at 5 starts now.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Tommy Lopez. Andrea Self is off today. Labor Day is the last major holiday of the summer. Many people in our area are taking the day to cook out, spend time with family. But not everyone can go swimming and hang out by a grill today. Many people are working, like us here at WCBI. A Bloomberg study found that 41% of employers in the U.S. will have at least some staff working today. At the food giant in Columbus, many people are spending their Labor Day working. Employees there tell us working on a holiday isn't all that bad. They say they're enjoying meeting new people who are traveling to the area. And workers say there are some reasons to have a positive attitude about working today.
It's pretty good, you know. It's been busy here. I don't have a problem coming in today. Coming in at 8 o'clock, you know, throw some boxes around. It's a good thing.
I hear people say, oh, it's just another day, but it really isn't. You really have an opportunity to sell your product to people who normally don't come in on your basis. So I don't mind working holidays, and if I would give advice, I would say think positive.
Studies show that around 4 in 10 Americans did not take a single vacation last year. Add to that more workers are saying email and cell phones are increasing the amount of time they spend working. First responders are spending some time working today. A national restaurant chain is showing its appreciation this Labor Day. Team members and a manager from Tupelo's Olive Garden delivered pasta, breadsticks, and salad to firefighters and those working in the emergency room at North Mississippi Medical Center. The free food is part of a nationwide effort by the restaurant to thank those who work throughout the year to watch over their communities.
This is more of a labor of love thing. We just, super proud to be able to do this. It's the least we can do for those who take care of us each and every day. Holiday, rain, sleet, or shine.
We very much appreciate the community's interest in emergency medicine and supporting the emergency medicine community, if you will, paramedics, EMS, police, everybody who participates in trying to make sure the community stays safe and healthy.
The 15th year, Olive Garden restaurants have delivered free meals to first responders on Labor Day. Lawmakers in Alabama will resume a special session on Medicaid this week. State senators are going to debate a House-passed bill tomorrow. Most of the focus on the session will be dividing settlement money from the BP oil spill, with much of the funds being considered as an indirect way to fill an $85 million hole in next year's Medicaid budget. The House's plan would use a $450 million amount to repay borrowed money from past budget shortfalls and nearly $200 million for roads in the state's coastal counties. Paying those debts would free up $70 million for Medicaid in the next fiscal year. The senators have been divided, though, on how to spend that money, especially how much to spend on infrastructure and how much to use for states' debts. Other lawmakers want to send more money straight to Medicaid. Your power bill could be rising starting in October. Many area towns will be voting this week on the rate increase. The Tennessee Valley Authority is increasing its residential rates by 1.5%. It'll be starting October 1st. As you can see, the move is expected to generate nearly $200 million in revenue for the electric supplier, which serves the bulk of our area. Oxford is expected to take up the issue tomorrow. This could result in about a $1.50 increase to the average homeowner's monthly bill. TVA says the increase is still below the inflation rates. Starkville will move one step closer this week to getting all the money it needs to renovate the police department. On the agenda for the aldermen to consider tomorrow night are 2 items for the sale and the award of public improvement bonds. The bonds total $5.4 million. Renovations officially started 2 weeks ago. As you can see there, construction work should be completed by May of next year. The Chickasaw County School District is a day away from a couple important discussions. There's going to be meetings in Jackson and in Holka tomorrow. Local members will be meeting with state lawmakers in Jackson to talk about the progress of the state-mandated joining of the administrative offices of the Okolona, Houston, and Chickasaw County School Districts. The county board could be hiring a contractor Tuesday night to rebuild areas of the Holka School. A fire destroyed parts of the school over 2 years ago. Bids opened last week and are all within the district's budget. It's called Noah Law. A Water Valley mother is continuing her push to ban the sale of caffeine pills to people under the age of 18. This week in Winona, 17-year-old Noah Smith died 2 years ago after he took the over-the-counter caffeine pills. In the wake of her son's death, Jennifer Westmoreland is arguing to keep them out of the hands of minors. The Mississippi legislature has not passed the bill for 2 straight years. Westmoreland is now going to individual city and county boards looking for local laws. Oxford, Water Valley, Lafayette, and other governments have agreed with the idea. She will speak with the Winona Board of Aldermen tomorrow. All right, it's time for a first look at our forecast. Ashley Ruiz is in with us. Hey, Ashley.
Hey Tommy, it's a beautiful day out there for our Labor Day. Very warm as well. Temperatures in West Point currently sitting at 90 degrees. We have a nice southerly breeze around 7 miles per hour. For West Point, we did see some spotty showers throughout the day. Most of us stayed dry. As you can see, the spotty shower activity mainly along I-55 and areas to the west. So again, temperatures in the lower 90s across the area, 94 in Vernon. But if you are planning on grilling out any late day Labor Day activities, temperatures are going to be mild, but we are expecting to stay dry. Now our overnight lows will be in the lower 70s. Details coming up in just a few minutes. Tommy?
All right, Ashley, thank you. There are new details this afternoon after a Columbus man is killed in an early morning crash today in Noxubee County. The Mississippi Highway Patrol says Tommy Harris died after being ejected from the back seat of a pickup on Highway 14 there just west of Macon. Troopers say 53-year-old Jimmy Foote of Columbus went off the highway in a Nissan and down an embankment near the Noxubee-Winston County line. The truck hit a culvert before crashing into some trees. 45-year-old Rita Smith of Macon was also ejected from the back seat of the Nissan. Front passenger Lisa Foote, along with Jimmy Foote and Smith, all have non-life-threatening injuries.
One was expired on the scene after I arrived. Tried to be resuscitated by EMR, but they was unsuccessful.
The MHP continues to investigate the crash. A crash in Lowndes County is going to turn out the lights for some 4 county customers. The crash happened at the intersection of McCully and New Hope Roads this afternoon. At least 1 electric pole was damaged. Crews blocked traffic until the power lines could be removed. Volunteers tell WCBI the driver hit a guide wire on McCully and crossed over to New Hope Road before stopping there near some trees. At one time, 4 County Electric Power reported more than 500 customers were without electricity. No serious injuries were reported. Lowndes County deputies are investigating. A Noxubee County man is out of jail on bond after being accused of stabbing his wife. 46-year-old Arthur Fortner is charged with aggravated assault. Noxubee County Sheriff Terry Grassery says the stabbing happened during an argument at the couple's Shuckalock home last week. The woman was treated and released from the hospital for her injuries. Deputies are continuing to investigate the incident. It's been a heart-wrenching time for a small community in Minnesota where searchers found the remains of an 11-year-old boy that was abducted 17 years ago. There is grief and support today for the boy's family, but also anger over the fact that a possible suspect was questioned multiple times but never arrested. Jamie Yukas has more.
This is the field where investigators found Jacob Wetterling's remains. People in Paynesville, Minnesota have driven past the spot for nearly 27 years.
My whole name is Jacob Irvin Wetterling. My favorite food is steak.
Jacob was last seen on the night of October 22nd, 1989. According to court documents, a masked gunman approached Jacob, his brother, and a friend as they rode their bikes home from a convenience store. Jacob was abducted, and the 2 other boys were let go.
He grabbed Jacob and then he told me to run as fast as I could into the woods or else he'd shoot.
The court documents show tire marks from Danny Heinrich's car were consistent with those at the crime scene. FBI agents questioned Heinrich and searched his home after Wetterling's disappearance, but never charged him.
I've always believed that they've been associated.
A break came in 2015 when Jared Shirell asked investigators to relook at his own kidnapping and sexual assault case from the same year in nearby Cold Spring. Investigators searched Heinrich's home again and discovered child pornography. Law enforcement sources say last week Heinrich told the FBI where Wetterling's remains were located as part of an ongoing plea agreement.
What was the first thing that went through your mind when you heard those remains were recovered?
I happened to be in the car with my 12-year-old boy. I couldn't help but feel emotional, happy and sad at the same time.
A statement from the Jacob Wetterling Resource Center expressed deep grief, adding, "We didn't want Jacob's story to end this way."
It has been a very emotional few days for this small, tight-knit community. Everyone from the governor to the neighbors who live on this street have given an outpouring of love and support to the Wetterling family. In St. Joseph, Minnesota, Jamie Yukas, CBS News.
A town in Alabama elects a female mayor, its first in history. More on the challenges she's facing. And on the campaign trail, Labor Day is not stopping Clinton and Trump from getting to work. Why the candidates are targeting some specific voters today. That story is coming up in 2 minutes. It's a holiday for most, but Labor Day is traditionally a time when presidential candidates are kicking it into high gear on the campaign trail. Both candidates are courting voters in the battleground state of Ohio today. Mark Albert is at the White House with the latest.
Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Tim Kaine kicked off Labor Day with union members in Pittsburgh.
When fewer workers are in unions, wages are lower. And when more workers are in unions, wages are higher.
Hillary Clinton meets with voters in Ohio this afternoon, many of whom still have questions about her emails while she was Secretary of State. Clinton told FBI agents she doesn't recall any briefing or training on how to handle classified information. And she said she thought the C marking on confidential emails meant it was marked in alphabetical order. 46% of voters in the latest CBS News poll say Clinton's explanations of her private emails are getting less believable.
It still does add to the level of distrust that has dogged her from the very beginning. So I think in so much as these stories just keep coming, they're going to be a problem for her.
Clinton had a big lead in most polls following the Democratic convention, but Donald Trump has cut that lead in half. Trump is making his pitch to working-class voters in Ohio.
Ohio is having its jobs just sucked out of it, going to Mexico.
But many voters say they are still confused about Trump's stance on immigration and whether he will deport every undocumented immigrant in the U.S.
He pivots and then pivots right back, so it's kind of a 360-degree pivot at times.
Trump campaigned at an African-American church this weekend as part of his effort to win over minority voters. Mark Albert for CBS News, the White House.
Mark, thank you. And Republicans in Congress are promising more hearings to look into Hillary Clinton's emails when they get back to Capitol Hill tomorrow after taking a month-long break. Kennedy, Alabama elects its first female to serve as mayor. Rose McDaniel has lived in Kennedy, Alabama most of her life. Her life in politics started as a councilperson. She also works at the small Lamar County town's only convenience store. Kennedy's population is a little over 400 people. McDaniel says she knows that being a mayor of such a small town will have its challenges.
The most challenging part is some people just don't understand that you've got to watch everything and all your pennies and stuff when you have a town this small, because you don't have all that much income coming in.
Why McDaniel's campaign all started with a little sense of humor. That's coming up on WCBI News at 6.
Well, it's a beautiful